I think it was more about just the size that we could put out there to match Orlando. They're a huge team, and they beat us up in that first half.
What have you seen from Quentin in terms of growth defensively, just with more reps with you guys?
I think just a better sense of positioning on pick and roll. You saw him out there kind of playing cat and mouse a little bit. Maybe early in the season he would have been pulled out to the perimeter and driven by. So he has a better sense now of how to play that cat and mouse game and still protect the rim and still get up to the touch on pick and roll so that he can at least challenge a jump shot out there. So he's just very, very smart player and tough. He's very competitive and tough, and so he loves the challenge out there.
Is there a different feel to when you get down by 17 now with this team?
Is there what?
A different feel when you get down big, like down 17 tonight to this team than before the trade?
Yeah, but these long trips across the country, the first game is always difficult. I always worry about the first half of these type games, and but like I said, I felt good about where we were at halftime because I knew what we were capable of, and it felt good to see the guys really put it together in the second half. Obviously, Steph led the way, but Draymond's defense was fantastic on Paolo, and Gary had the huge block. We had a lot of guys come in and give us big minutes.
Steve, when Steph first got going, it looked like Buddy had an open three in transition where he basically turned it down to set up one for Steph. And I wonder if you kind of ever see a shooter of his level turn one down like that just to set up another one for Steph.
That was an Andre Iguodala type play. He used to make that all the time. But Buddy's usually shooting that ball. But great sign when everybody recognizes how hot Steph is, and if you get a chance to get him the ball, you get it to him. That was a really good play from Buddy.
This was obviously a night where he did kind of lift you guys by himself offensively, but do you sense since the trade and just with more realistic contention in front of him that Steph's kind of spirit and energy just kind of...
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who keeps using the term meaningful basketball, which I love. I think it's so eloquent, and humble. Steph just wants to play meaningful basketball, and you can see we're now in the fight. We're in the mix, and this is what Steph loves. He's as great of a player and shooter he is, his competitiveness is probably his most underrated quality, and he was dying to be back in the mix, and we're back in the mix, and you can tell he's energized by that.
Coach, you mentioned about Draymond and Paolo battling tonight, but Paolo finished with 41. Could you talk a little bit about his growth coming in the past couple of years?
Yeah, well, he made the 3 threes in the first half, which obviously you're hoping he doesn't get going, but those are shots you kind of have to give him, and he made them. But we were confident that in the second half, with Draymond on him, we'd be able to challenge those shots a little bit better. And I thought Draymond did what you have to do with great players, and that's just make them work. But Paolo, he's a handful, and he had a fantastic game tonight.
Coach, just picking up on what you just said in the last answer, are you guys thinking about being in the final 6 so you don't have to go through the play-in? Is that kind of on your minds right now?
That's the goal. Yeah, the goal is 6 for sure. We don't want to be in the play-in if we don't have to be. So long way to go, 23, 24 games left, whatever it is. But we're making a run and putting some pressure on teams above us. And I thought that set a good tone for the second half, gave us a little bit of a lift. Everybody was excited. And then obviously our defense was dramatically better second half.
Going to post to start the second half, I mean, Draymond on Apollo, just how, obviously it worked out quite well, but what were you thinking with that move? And what did you know?
Just to change the matchups and get Draymond on Paulo. That's our best matchup, and that put Jimmy on Franz. So it was what John was asking before the game. With the small lineup, can we do that against this team? And first half, it didn't work, and so. You make the adjustment and hope that it works. Quentin was great. He obviously knocked down shots, but it was his defense too and his size and what it did, changing the matchups defensively, that really helped us.
You've experienced a lot of Steph nights, kind of like tonight. Was this high up there?
Yeah, Raymond just said it was his 26th game with 10 or more threes. So we're spoiled around here. We're used to it, but it never gets old watching. I can tell you that. I think the fans here tonight, even the Magic fans, they know they're witnessing greatest shooter ever and one of the greatest performers ever. It's not just the shots going in, it's just the fluidity, the beauty of his movement and motion and his audacity, the shots that he's willing to take. He's an incredible performer, and he put on quite a show tonight.
Steve, you've seen him hit so many threes, and even like one tonight from half court, but is there any one three when he's going like this that's just so demoralizing or so momentum changing for you guys that you've kind of become used to a little bit?
Tonight it was just that sequence, late third, I think, where he scored about 4 or 5 buckets in a row, and we went from maybe down 2 or 3 to up 8 or 10. I thought that was the key to the whole game. That was that changed everything. It allowed us to play with the lead in the fourth quarter and withstand their late run.
Have you heard a road crowd get that kind of caught up in it?
I have. He's, there's a lot of 30 jerseys out there everywhere we go. But when we come east, these fans only get to see him once a year, and so they know that, or they're hoping they get a treat, and they got a treat tonight.
What do you feel like with the 8 games now with Jimmy, what has that opened up for Steph?
Well, I just think we're more comfortable when Steph goes to the bench, which is a big deal. Tonight wasn't our best night in that regard, but I think overall Jimmy gives us a level of confidence that we needed. And then when he's with Steph, you see how smart he is, how the ball moves, the possessions connect. And same with BP. So when those guys are out there with Steph, BP and Jimmy didn't shoot it well tonight, but multiple possessions where they're driving closeouts, swinging the ball, creating an advantage, and then Steph ends up with a shot on the backside. So it all matters.
You mentioned Quentin a little bit, and to start the third quarter, obviously Steph started going as well, but I think Quentin had 10 early points there to get the run started. Just how important were those minutes and points from him? Yeah,
that was a big stretch. We obviously set a tone right away and won the quarter 40-21. So Quentin's scoring was big. He knocked down a couple threes, but